able to freely move around and have a lot of mobility. But we have Braze Ling coming out for the first match of this upper bracket finals, as well as the Florin, which we teased a little bit when we talked about Dairy picking Enchanter type supports. And I think this lineup coming up from RSG looking really good.
Okay, not exactly what I was expecting. They went full flex down onto the X-Borg pick. So now we are looking at the Rizla that is going on to the middle lane, by the way. So the Terizla will be played by Godzilla, and this is very reminiscent to Jay playing the Terizla in the middle lane. So they're not necessarily going to be doing the typical stuff that we should be able to see, whereby they get themselves the lane priority, etc. But to close things out, we are also going to be looking at a Nolan that's being picked from the side of Hades, and we have seen the superior slippery menace that Hades have brought upon the Land of Dawn before.
Honestly, Nolan is one of the premier picks all across MPLs, even in Philippines, even in Indonesia. Nolan is one of the highest picked heroes, and I'm so happy to see Hades piloting this in the first match of today. Speaking of which, we are heading straight into Game 1 of the upper bracket finals for MPL SG Season 7 RSG SG versus NIP Flash.
All right, going into this one, we know the drafts, we know you talked a lot about the intricacies of the different drafts, but if you had to just choose, which one has a somewhat easier time or easier composition to work with, who would you say?
Personally, I would say NIP Flash.
Yeah, I ditto that exact sentiment because honestly, NIP Flash, they have range that they can deal with. Honestly, RSG is looking really short range, so they have to approach NIP Flash. But keep in mind, they've got the Tigreal. NIP Flash has the Tigreal that can just shove them back and use its ultimate to keep them together. And we have skirmishes starting off.
Back. Godzilla already getting low. He flickers back. He's trying to get back to safety. Diablo, Hades, I don't think they're going to commit, and they've gone too far. Hades is the first to fall. Diablo's next on that list. Lalzi will just kind of walk back and just be like, hey, what happened, guys?
Very efficient movements coming in from the side of RSG, immediately responding to the call of duty whenever they saw someone that is in danger. In fact, NIP Flash started up with a pretty good initiation on the Lalzi.
The Blaze chops in, he gets stunned under tower, doesn't even be careful, and Lalzi somehow survives. Woo!
Oh, that was so close. Bray hit level 4, by the way, in that first team fight. So he used the ultimate to try to get an early kill onto Lalzi, but unfortunately was not able to get anything more than that. And wow, RSG off to a very strong start.
It is. In fact, this start is not exactly what I'm expecting, because when it comes down to NIP Flash's lineup, they do have the very conventional start, whereby they have a mage in the middle lane, and understandably, when it comes down to mage, once they hit level 2, they already got the biggest power spike as compared to any other roles that is in the game. First skill and second skill are always going to be damage abilities, and it will always help them to work out with the early game engagements. Which is why when I see NIP Flash started in the team fight,
solo Hades is going to take that one out, and Tempest the Blades, he goes in, and it looks like closer, he's going to be focused here. The spear's a little off the mark, and now RSG are going to back off.
What a steal coming in from the side of Hades. Bray decided that, you know, look, I have the level advantage, so I should be able to win the retry fight. But Hades hits level 4 right as the turtle was down to half HP, so Hades decides to scoot on over and manages to steal it with his retribution. And guys, Brave Smite on Dairy, Lauren?
Brave Smite on Florin. Well, it pretty much just assume, for me, I would just assume that he would want to have probably a better time when it comes down to laning together with the Moskov. Or perhaps it's just more of a better survivability throughout the entire game, just so that he has more time that is always going to be around. But the problem is,
does need to be careful. He's going to back off. He's going to be fine.
It's fine. But the problem when it comes down to Florin is that whenever I look at Florin, I will always assume that the best way to use a Florin is when your team actually utilizes healing capabilities, regen, spell vamps. But unfortunately, RSG doesn't really quite have that. So the only thing that I can expect is only when CS picks up a Heart's Claws for himself, and that is probably the only time where the anti-regen debuff will be shredded off.
Yeah,
in the bottom lane. Looks like they're going to go. Lousy gets the nice stun. He's been charged, but he's going to go down. Bray will get credit. Derry trying to walk into it, and Hades actually cuts him off. And Bray gets over the wall. He's going to be fine.
Lots of mini skirmishes happening all across the map. There is no room for us to take a breather, man. These teams are bashing heads on against each other, and we are seeing just so much death on the field. But even then, only 300 gold lead to RSG so far. Honestly, we'll probably see the next fight in about 2 seconds or so when the turtle spawns.
Right now, we got
Hades going in. Feathered airstrike right on. Hit does connect onto Derry. And Hades now, he's going to be jumped on from the backside. Godzilla running after him. And Hades does gets away.
Not a lot of HP to work with, but we do have the turtle that is currently available at the northern side. So it really depends on whether Hades will be able to get enough HP back in order to really take onto this turtle fight. But EXP-wise, we gotta have to look out for this because Bray is currently at level 7 and Hades just... Okay, no, both of them are level 7, so it's not too bad of a deal.
Lousy gets him, lines him up with Bray. Diablo going in for this one as well. Closer trying to back off the feathered airstrike. He's trying to connect onto this one, but Lousy's so low. Closer going down to the ends of the earth to get him, but he might have gone too far. He's gonna fall, and it looks like that's gonna be it. It's gonna be a 2-for-1.
2-for-1 trade is not what RSG is looking for. Now we have a 500 gold lead, which is going to expand 800 gold lead to the side of NP Flash. NP Flash taking that second turtle of the game. Honestly speaking, things are starting to look like the tables turning for the side of NP Flash.
It will definitely be a lot more difficult for RSG to execute their game as compared to NP Flash. But I will say that right off the start, they're actually doing a pretty darn good job. I am pretty much expecting that the amount of skilling and of course the farm from RSG is going to slowly and very gradually work out for Bray. Bray is understandably going to be one of the main heroes that we need to look out for, and he needs to snipe down onto Curtizi. Godzilla understandably have some other jobs that he gotta have to work out on, because Vanix understandably is super slippery.
Yeah, look, Vanix is going to be really hard, but once he does use the ultimate, he is also going to be a very prime target, I think, for RSG to pounce on. Honestly, really liking the composition that RSG has brought to the first game today. Honestly, who would have expected Godzilla to play Terizla, right?
Yep.
But
that's not really what I expected.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like Xbox, yeah, sure, you can be a little bit more flexible about that, but to see them pull kind of like a J move, that's not what I expected.
No, but I love it, right? Because this composition makes sense. It allows them a tanky front. It gives them a tanky front line in Xborg as well as the Terizla, but it also gives them opportunities to pounce the back line with the Ling, with the potential Xborg as well, and you also have sustain in the Florin, right? Not to mention Moskov as well. He just does his own thing, right? He just shreds through the entire team with his spears. So honestly speaking, love how RSG has brought this lineup together. And as you mentioned, the later they go in the game, the better they're going to be. On the other hand, NP Flash, their lineup spikes probably mid to late game as well.
But I'm always afraid of damage output, right? When we look at the fact that a mage has been substituted by a fighter, which is going to be an initiating fighter such as a Terizla, you might actually lose out quite a bit of damage, because look at this, the entire cost of Godzilla's damage pretty much just tickles Longsi only.
That's true, but we did see the damage graph earlier with Feather Airstrike.
Doesn't seem like they will be able to take much of a fight from this point on. Curtizi already don't have the Feathered Airstrike. The turtle is currently available for the picking as well. So when it comes down to the ultimate economy, understandably, the NP Flash would have a rougher time for this taking.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to stop them. Actually, RSG opting not to contest for this third turtle, opting to take a fight in the upper river for some reason.
Yeah, they're going to get the stun here. They do have it with the feathered airstrike. They're going to snipe him down. Godzilla, though, sticking around. Diablo and Curtsy are just going to scurry him away.
That's what they have, right? NP Flash. Burst damage. And RSG doesn't really quite have that.
Honestly, a little bit confused as to why RSG are taking these fights. Honestly speaking, they should be targeting for objectives like the turtle. They opted to fight for the first one. Second and third one, they just kind of gave it away, and they didn't do any kind of cross plays. You know, oftentimes we see teams, when they give up the turtle, they often choose to take another objective on the other side of the map. such as a tower push or perhaps a jungle invade. But we saw none of that so far.
Bray gets sniped out. Hades with the outplay. I mean, he's got the level advantage, so that made it much easier, but Bray did not expect that one.
And Bray just, look, deaths like this should need to stop happening for the side of RSG, right? They're losing players, they're losing life for no good reason. And at this point of the game, right, NIP Flash, this is where their power spike hits. This is where, if they are given, if they're given leniency of the game, if they're given full control, it's going to be really hard for RSG to come back.
NIP Flash, what they want is team fight. They just want to fight, fight, and fight, because understandably, they are really strong in that very aspect. But RSG, though, that is not their forte at all. What they want to do is they want to create diversions. They want to play the map a lot more. They want to play onto the macro game and just go for split pushes.
Yeah, Lalzi up front. He gets the charge, he gets the knockoff as well. But all of this for the Fenrir, it seems like quite a bit on the backside. The Feather Air Strike, Fennec, Lalzi still there. Great focused here. He needs to kill. Diablo will take credit for that one. Now Lalzi's on, he needs to back off. He's getting sniped out by CS, who goes for this. He gets a kill. He wants Diablo as well. He's gotten a double kill. Continuing on, it looks like Hades continuing forward. Godzilla will then flicker back, and that's going to end most of this fight here.
Katisi still trying to look for something, perhaps just wanting to get vision, I suppose. But the first Lord has been started for the side of NIP Flash. Once again, I'm a little surprised that RSG is not trying to contest with this at all. It's once again given.
Yeah, I don't think they
can't
can.
contest
It's not that they don't want to, it's just that Bray was down, they didn't really have the retribution, so you're kind of in a bad spot to begin with.
I can kind of understand what NIP Flash was trying to do at that point in time. They did manage to kind of go in for a team fight that favored them a lot because of the amount of real estate that RSG can maneuver around with, which actually inhibits the growth of a Moskov, because positioning is key when it comes down to Moskov. But it also plays a very difficult part for NIP Flash. The moment that they are all huddled together, it actually also helps Moskov. So by the end of the day, NIP Flash, they went in, they found Bray, they got him they got a kill off of him, and they're like, okay, there's a lot as well. The moment that Bray goes down, we can focus on the standing up onto neutral objectives, which is exactly what NIP Flash did. But by doing that, they backed off and lost 2.
Oh, the Feathered Airstrike, in addition to the Lord Mickey, it's difficult for them to even get to it. Yeah, they did a little chip damage on the T3, but that's the first Lord, they'll take that.
Yeah, the first Lord doing damage to the tier 3 turret is definitely what NIP Flash is looking for. Diablo being a little bit cheeky.
Force the flicker.
Force the flicker, that's pretty much it. But the Feathered Airstrike, right back off on cooldown. He's going to go for this. They get the T3 bottom. That is an opening. That's what you want as NIP Flash.
That is great.
Especially since this is the first Lord.
Yeah, not to mention that they're up also 6.4k gold. That's 2 entire items right now. The gold, keep in mind, guys, just about 2 to 3 minutes ago was very, very close. And right now, the game has blown wide open to... Sorry, the game has flown to NIP Flash's side. At this point, NIP Flash looking extremely dominant.
Itemizations wise, we do have Vanix that has pretty much gotten themselves with a total of 3 items: the Feather of Heaven, the Scythe, as well as a Holy Crystal. While Hades, he's got 3 items as well, with the Hunter Strike, Malefic Roar, as well as the Blade of Destruction, almost with the Endless Battle. So from maybe about 2 minutes from now, it's pretty fair to say that NIP Flash would have quite a lot of lead, and they would have a full item away from their counterparts.
Yeah, things are looking a little bit grim for the side of RSG, but the silver lining is that CS has completed his Holy Trinity and looks as if he's building towards potentially a Has Clause. So honestly speaking, I think CS is going to be the saving grace for the side of RSG.
I mean, they rely on Bray, right? They're trying to funnel as much as possible. He hasn't had the greatest of games. He's died 3 times already. He's 2 levels behind Hades. So this is a pretty sizable advantage that they need to overcome. And RSG right now, they don't really have a whole lot of farm. They're getting choked out. It's going to be very difficult for RSG to get back in this game.
But with that all said, RSG's game will only really start when Ling is at level 15. That is when they will be able to play on more of their macro game. They will play around the Lord's Dance and take the opportunity of putting and applying pressure on the opposite sides of the map. Because right now, there's still a lot of pockets of gold in the NIP Flash's territory, right? We have a total of 5 standing objectives that is still available for the picking. However, RSG, they don't have that kind of opportunity to create space and to make some diversions because of the fact that they just cannot fight for the Lord.
This is so difficult to watch as an RSG fan. If you're watching here, you're just watching them just like sitting around waiting for the next jungle cramps to spawn. Like, it's a very difficult situation because you've been pushed back, you have nothing. You are literally so hungry, you're starving, you have nothing to eat, so to speak.
Yeah, and look at that. Diablo is just walking in, trying to steal as many jungle camps as he can, choking RSG out even further. Honestly, this is, as you mentioned, painful to watch, Holler. I mean, it's as an RSG fan, this is not what you want to see for your first game, especially with how things were looking at the start of this game, right? Now NIP Flash up 8.6k gold.
Feathered airstrike, more to zone, but they're going to take this T3 middle. Diablo getting a little bit low. He does need to be careful. He's going to be focused in, and they do get the kill, and that's a good start. Closer will take credit for that, but they do trade the middle and the top T3 for that. Now, NIP Flash still sticking around. The Lord is still up there. The Tempest of Blades. He wants to go for Hades. He's not able to get the snipe out, and it looks like they're going to back off NIP Flash.
Very worth it, to be honest. Only one death on themselves while getting a total of 3 inhibitor turrets. I'll take that any day.
Oh, but Lalsey all up in front. Yeah, he charges. He's got the knockup as well, and Godzilla taking most of that. The penalty zone, but he might have gone too far, and he does fall in the end. CS is going to be next on that list. Closer getting focused now as well, and NIP have found that opening all off the somewhat greed, so to speak, of Godzilla on that one. The base wide open. They're going to wait for the next minions. It's just a matter of time. Bray is just going to try to do what he can, but with the base wide open, they do chase him out. Ex-teammates, the Feathered Airstrike, they're going to take game 1.
Oh, what a way to close the game, unfortunately for RSG. I don't believe that Godzilla's intention was to jump onto that Tigreal with his penalty zone. I am almost 60-70% sure that he wanted to use his penalty zone to actually go back to base, but accidentally tapped on it